G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. Last night we did the Sunday Medio Fondo on Indievelo. The course was the Grand Day Out, which takes in all of the roads on the first island in all directions at some stage. You can see there are three kind of major climbs on the route here. Just heading up the first one now, and a lead group of three has formed. There are two chasers pretty close behind there in George Klukas and Lon Huber, who ended up being the main bots for this race. On the descent, I think I get away with the guys in fourth and fifth, and then the rest sorted itself out from there. So we're about a quarter of the way through the race now, and the lead group is formed. George is doing most of the work on the front, and honestly, I spent pretty much the next hour just sitting in behind him. Lon wasn't doing a heap of work either. I felt like this race was going to be pretty simple in terms of me being there at the pointy end. The crew behind on the leaderboard, we were extending the gap to all of them except for Dennis and Max, but they weren't catching us at any stage. They seemed very similarly matched on the flat to George and Lon. My plan here, I was not really sure how to win the race. A flat finish, and these two bots were probably heavier than me, so didn't really know if I was gonna try and take them on in a sprint or whether I'd try and break away at some stage. But looking at the course profile, there's not really anywhere to break away later on in the race from heavier guys, so it was probably going to have to be at that 60k mark if I actually did it. Heading over the highest point of the day, about halfway through, I stretched the guys out a little bit to kind of see what would happen. They just basically kept at their threshold, which they seem to do most of the race here, and so I didn't want to go for home an hour out against guys that were doing like 350 watts. Just wasn't in the mood for that kind of effort today, so let them back on and waited until that 60k mark. Heading into the decisive point of the race here, and this is where I decided that I'd have a bit of a go. 5-minute effort to see if I could create a gap on these two, and then we would see what would happen. So set off pretty solid. Felt pretty nice up the climb. I think I did 4:15 for 5 or 6 minutes here with a bit of a flatter bit in the middle where I eased off. So never really felt fully stressed, but it was a solid effort nonetheless. Top of the climb now, I've opened up close to a minute with this effort. You can see the colours on the graph below. A pretty solid one. Heart rate's still 168, 169. Well, there we go, 171. So we're going solid, but we're not at max. The key would be to recover here on this descent, because from the bottom of the descent, we've probably got 17k to try and hold them off, which, that's only 3 or 4 seconds a kilometre, which if they're riding strongly together isn't actually that much. Goal of the last section was on these two little lumps on the mini map there to try and get back into that 400 watt range, and then just ride more like a tempo-y type, just over 300 watts for the other parts there in that final stretch, which seemed to work. It seemed to hold the gap off. Those guys were doing about 330 watts. So I extended up on this climb up to the track, and then they'd catch a few seconds on the other parts. The last 5k had quite a few tailwind sections, which were really welcomed at this stage. Get things done a bit faster, less time for them to catch up. You can see the gaps at about a minute 2 there, so I'm pretty confident that I'm going to win. Although a little bit of a rise to the finish. I'm sure if any of them had some left, they'll probably claw a bit of that back. Heading into the last 400 meters, we do a little bit of a kick up the steep part just to secure things. Lon Huber is flying. He's catching that gap up quickly now. Glad that I didn't try and take him on in a finish, looking at those numbers. But yeah, it was a nice solid one. I think I did the last 20 minutes on the flat at 335 watts average, when you include the up and the downhill as well, it was over 30 minutes at about that, which was good. You can see I've got all the data customized here on the display. I'm still tweaking that, but it's great that you can customize the computer there to see the data that you want to see. So first place, a nice little win and a nice little training ride, couple of hours in the bank with a solid finish. So not really an exciting one tonight, but if you're into Indievelo and the Sunday Medio Fondo, it's a good one to do. So there's the graph of the race there. So you can see it got a little bit spicier towards the end. Recent Indievelo power curve, best 5 minute in 90 days on the platform. But yeah, I think I'm in better nick than that. So yeah, that's some of the data. 24-second win. Lon averaged a lot more power than me. But yeah, thanks for watching.